My guests today are two good friends of mine now. Fitz, you're the regular producer on the Rough Sets podcast, making his first appearance on Fathom and Friends. And then we got Steve Hagara from Streetbeefs Scrapyard. Thanks for coming on, Steve.
Hey, thanks for having me on today.
Yeah, man. It's fun being out here. We've been chilling for like an hour now in the ring, and this is crazy.
So you like the setup?
Yeah, this is crazy, dude. How long have you been doing this for?
We started this in July 2020.
Okay.
Yep.
So during the pandemic?
During the pandemic.
That's wild.
Yeah, you know, like at the first when we started it, it wasn't too bad, but as it picked up, we had to take some precautions and make some arrangements.
Yeah, and you can do this because it's all. Or actually, I always forget this. We are on Patreon now. We're on YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notifications bell. Also, subscribe to all the Streetbeefs Scrapyard stuff on YouTube and Rough Sets podcast. That's Fitz podcasts on YouTube. And then we are on Patreon now, patreon.com/FNFpod.
Man, we better give the listeners like 5 minutes to type all that shit in.
Yeah, it's just a lot of information. It's fine. It'll all be in the show notes. We got it. But so this is like a division or like underneath the umbrella of Streetbeefs, the original, the OG.
Yeah. So like the shirt that I'm wearing right here, the Cobra, you know, we call it the OG branch of Streetbeefs, or the OG, and they started back in 2008. A guy named Chris Wilmore, he's the one that started it all. Scarface.
Yes.
And he started to stop street violence out in Harrisonburg, Virginia. Bring people together and let them fight in his backyard.
Did it work?
I mean, people come out there and do fights instead of fighting on the street. So I would say that he's definitely made a huge impact on, you know.
That's sick. Yeah, way better than gun violence.
Well, they did a big documentary too on. Was it the New York Post that did it?
New York Times.
New York Times.
Yep.
Yeah, it was wild, man. It was so compared to this. It's so like they're dirt ground, and one of the guys was like wearing jeans and shit. Like it was like almost like he forgot that he was fighting that day.
Well, I mean, back then
sometimes jeans can be an advantage.
In what way?
Dude, my first fight in Streetbeefs was in jeans.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you win?
I won.
Yeah. Was it the jeans that helped?
It was.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, jeans.
Dude. Fuck yeah. Levi's or what? Like, was it did you have like your, these are my fighting pants?
I don't even remember.
Hell yeah. Well, that's how you earn the holes in your knees. Unless you were in a fight, then that's lame.
Honestly, though, the reason I wore jeans is because it was like 30 degrees out that day. There was snow on the ground, and I'm not wearing shorts today.
Yeah. So it originally started for that OG brand. Are you guys technically is this like a franchise or?
So
like you guys are family.
We're a family, yeah.
Yeah,
family.
So Scarface, he doesn't allow very many people to represent his name. It's a big deal because if something goes wrong, then it's on him. It's the Streetbeefs name. So he's only let like a couple different people run. We call them branches. Over the course of however many years he's been doing this.
So how many other branches are there?
Currently, there is Streetbeefs Scrapyard, which is here in Washington State, Streetbeefs West Coast, which is in Vegas and Arizona. It used to be on the West Coast, but California, they don't allow this type of thing. And then we got Streetbeefs Dirty South. They're in Texas, and they do events like, they don't do them too often. They're like every 3 or 4 months.
Okay. So not too, it seems like you're the primary. Or like the biggest
branch
brand. Yeah.
in Virginia, they're primary for sure. We're just a branch. We do our own thing out here in Washington, and we got people that go back and forth that fight between all of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Is it a legality thing? Like, because there's mutual combat law in this state.
So some states don't really care. Other states really care. Some states like New York, I mean, it's just like super legal. But Washington State, it's actually legal. Same with Texas. So we don't pay anybody. We don't receive any money in any way. There's no charge for admission. So
like 2 people want to fight. They agreed to people. It doesn't matter if it's men, women. Like, can men and women? It doesn't matter who it is.
I mean, we've had that happen before, but we don't have a lot of women sign up, and mainly women want to fight women. We can't let any like domestic disputes. We can't do that kind of stuff.
Oh, interesting.
Because that's a domestic violence issue, and then we get in trouble with that. So,
Has that been a common request?
No,
Yeah.
but it could happen.
Some guys like, I want to beat up my wife. Can I use street beefs? And you're like, no, thank you.
Or she got hit by him, and she's like,
I want
trying
revenge.
to get vengeance.
Right.
What's the weirdest one where you just like, yeah, this isn't happening? I'm
Age
sure
is
there's
a factor,
more.
so we have to limit age. You know,
okay.
obviously, 18 and over. That's got to be. But we've actually had a couple people out here in their 60s. We had a guy that was 67 fight.
I think Jay Money told me he fought somebody who was in their 60s.
Jay Money fought the guy. He was 67.
I love Jay. Shout out Jay Money.
It was actually that fight that forced us to be like, you know what? We got to put an age limit on this.
What happened?
I mean, it wasn't like bad or anything, but you know, dude got knocked down, and we're just like, I don't want that liability. So.
Yeah. It's just awkward too.
Yeah. Everyone's got this idea in their head, like how good they can fight. And sometimes they get in here and they realize like that idea wasn't accurate.
Yeah. What's the worst example of that you've seen?
Geez. Okay, so we had a guy one time, he signed up, he put himself, we have levels, right? Level 0 to 5. He put himself down as a level 3. And so I assumed, you know, like he's got some amateur fights and all that. And he fought a guy out here named Arm & Hammer. And dude had a nasty head kick knockout.
Ooh.
Like big time. It's viral. And anyway, he decided to do a MMA match that day, and we put those two up against each other. And I don't know if you can see it. You probably can't see it in the camera, but we got a little thing on our wall over there, which is the fastest knockout of all time. It's the top one there.
Looks like 3.772.
3.72 seconds. So, I mean, that's an example of overestimating your ability.
What? Arm & Hammer, that's the name of that guy. What was the guy? Army Hammer?
Army Hammer.
Yeah, he got in some. I was like, did he come out here and fight? Like,
Army
Hammer was the guy
sick.
that was like accused of.
Yeah, he's got a good life going, that guy.
Yeah, he's sorry. I tangent there for a second.
Army Hammer, he's like the male model actor.
Yeah, but he was like
inheriting millions of dollars from the Arm & Hammer company.
Oh,
yeah.
Arm & Hammer is his name is actually Armin. So
Yeah.
he gave himself the name Arm & Hammer.
Exactly. So he's like the third or something.
What's the best fight that you've seen out here though?
Ooh.
Actually, recently, like I did a top 10 fire. So I go by Fire Chicken, by the way. That's my fight name and my announce name. But
Fire Chicken.
Fire Chicken. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. But I'd say so. I did a video like not too long ago that was Fire Chicken's top 10, and essentially it was I can't remember. Oh yeah, I do remember which one. It was a guy named E Money versus High Speed, and it was just
No relation
to Jay Money.
No relation at all to Jay Money. These guys just put on a show, man. It was just a really good match. But I did like my top 10 fights, and that was number 1.
Nice. What makes a great fight?
To me,
yeah.
Well, everyone's got their own ideas, but to me, a good competitive back and forth, not anyone that is completely overpowering over the other person. I like to see competition. I don't like to see people come in here and just get starched. You know, that's not
starched.
That's wild. Yeah. I watched some of your videos going. You produce all of them? Like
I do edit all the videos.
Oh,
yeah.
That's like the most impressive
couple
thing.
Hours a night. You know, like I usually go up around 10 o'clock at night, and I'll sit up there and I'll find the next fight, and I got my way that I do it, the slow motion, the intros, the stats, everything, you know. And
so you book everything, you video everything.
I record in the ring, yeah, I do.
Yeah, and it is the majority of your business just YouTube then? Is that like
Pretty
what
much.
your bread and butter is?
Yeah, like everything else is just advertising, like the Instagram and the TikTok, you know. Like I throw stuff up on there because it gets eyes on us.
Yeah.
Leads back to the YouTube.
But you've had like issues like collaboration stuff and like it, because this whole like business, it's confusing. Like there's no.
It can be so, and it depends on the person who wants to collaborate or, you know, make their presence known. If somebody wants to come out here and be associated with us or not, you know, and they might not understand really what we represent or who we are, and they don't know if they want to necessarily put their name on it yet. And so that's why when you guys come out and you check out the setup and you, I'd really like to get you guys out to an event to check out what the vibe's like.
Oh,
for
yeah,
sure.
for sure.
That'd be fun. This, I mean, just coming out here was like this.
There's an energy of just being in the ring where you're like,
Oh, yeah.
your heart starts pumping a little.
You don't fight at all, though?
I do.
You do?
Yeah, dude. I actually started fighting back in like 2004.
Yeah, I watched a video, but I figured like you stopped once you started doing. Are you still actively fighting?
I fought a few months ago. A couple months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I train with these guys and everything, man.
That's
like
sick.
I go and I spar with them. I go to gyms.
Is that how you got the name Fire Chicken?
Fighting, yeah.
What? Yeah. What's the
what's
origin there?
You guys walked by the car when you came in the Trans Am.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you know how they got the bird on the hood?
Uh-huh.
That slang term for that is a fire chicken.
So,
So when I was coming up in mixed martial arts back in like 2009, I was with my coach and we were trying to figure out a name. And, you know, we knew that I was like really into Firebirds like the whole time I've ever driven. So it's like Fire Chicken
Fire Chicken.
strikes fear into everybody that hears it, you know?
I
There you
love
go.
it.
Is it a T-top
It
too?
is.
Yeah, those are fucking sick, man. That was Dazed and Confused. Like they had that car in that movie. It was sick, dude.
Hell yeah.
I had a buddy who had a T-top, and he had two girls in the car one time, and they were like sitting outside the window, and then he like turned too hard, like he was going too fast, and he turned, and one girl flew right out the window. I think of that every time I see a T-top.
Probably why you don't see any T-tops anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, where do you see yourself taking this? Because you guys clipped 100 million views on YouTube. Like,
Oh, you saw that, yeah.
yeah,
Congratulations.
that channel's massive. Like, you built that up. Have you had issues with like? I mean, this is a weird thing, right? Like, there's some people that would look at it and have problems with it, like just like they
So-
don't understand what you're doing.
Right. I think that people see that we follow like amateur rules and stuff, so we try our best to keep people safe. I'm sure we've had people come out here that kind of spying on us to see what we're doing to make sure we're not charging and all that. So like I just try to keep it as safe and as legal and everything as possible and just let it grow on its own.
But have you had any issues with like flagging and stuff on YouTube?
Yeah, but mainly that's just because like sometimes the titles, if you use a certain word, and it
Swear
can-
words.
not so much swear words, but sometimes it might mean something. Like I was having a problem with the word fight for a while, and then right, and YouTube, you know, they change their terms and conditions and stuff frequently. But I feel like the way it's shaped now is that when they see a referee in any of the videos, then they know it's
a sanctioned fight.
maybe not sanctioned, but that it's not just negligent. You know, we've got somebody looking out for the
Yeah,
fighters.
it's not World Star.
It's not World Star. No.
Yeah.
Interesting. Fight. I would have never even thought of that word but it's a good,
Right.
you nicely have to work around.
And it was just an age
Nice
restriction.
little- Yes, all three of us are.
The ambient
Look at
noise.
the bird.
Yeah, just like sometimes they would get like an age restriction on it, like, hey, this one's only for 18 over, and I'd have to like re-upload it or change the title or the thumbnail or something.
So what do you say instead of fight?
Match, something like that. But that's not true anymore because now I can put fight in there. So I don't know what happened.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of is it maddening a little bit on your end? Because I can't imagine having like so much of your livelihood tied to that stuff. And then like you have this great video, all this shit you put time into, and then it's getting kicked back over one word.
Yeah, I mean, our videos in general do very well. So one video isn't going to really do a whole lot for us as far as negative.
It's a good
I usually
philosophy.
figure out what went wrong, and actually one thing that I just remembered is so swear words in the YouTube videos. You might hear us sometimes in the videos say, "Hey, watch the language," and people are like,
Oh, yeah.
"Why are you guys worried about language? You're a fight club." It's like because YouTube, if it's within so many seconds of the video, if you drop the F-bomb or something, they're gonna say, "Nope, we're gonna age restrict that." So I'll pull the video down, I'll bleep it, or just turn the volume down on that section, and then put it up. And guess what? Now I don't get age restricted on it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's so crazy. So you can't swear, but you can beat the shit out of somebody.
Exactly.
But I can't say shit.
Not in the first
Beat
30
the
seconds.
poop
Yeah.
out of them.
Not the first 30 seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also for right now of YouTube's regulations, who knows how they'll change.
Eventually that'll change, and then you have to change
would-
all the videos.
I would think that they'd probably get less restrictive. I've seen stuff just get less restrictive as time goes on.
Really?
Oh, that's good to
TikTok
hear.
was a big example. Like I had a pretty decent sized TikTok. Actually, I don't know how many followers I had on there, but I kept getting videos, community guideline violations on my videos. And so eventually they just shut our whole TikTok down. Recently, like I started another TikTok and I'm like, you know what? Whatever. I'm just going to try it again. Maybe I'll get lucky. And now I put out videos all the time on there and don't have any problems. So now
Interesting.
our TikTok's up to like 70K. A lot of views, millions of views on there and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So where are you headed? Like, what are you trying to do with this? Because it's
I don't have a particular direction. I think that what we've built here, I would like to sustain. I have ideas of things that I want to do that aren't necessarily in the ring here or part of what we do here. Maybe a side thing that's related to this, but I don't want to get too much into that because ideas kind of tend to get taken from me sometimes. And so
fire chicken secret projects.
yeah, right?
Yeah, well, and focus on your core competency too.
Yeah,
right?
there you go.
Yeah. But how big can this go?
It can get as YouTube. It can get as big as, look at Mr. Beast.
Yeah, right.
Not saying I'm ever gonna be like that, but
You could be your own channel.
that's an example of like what the sky's the limit on YouTube or on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What has helped growth the most, you think? These chairs are
Social-
amazing, by the way, too. Yeah, I'm so jealous you have the swinging one.
This is very nice.
Basically, like I think that sharing a lot of stuff on the different platforms has helped out a lot. Getting better at editing and seeing what my core fans want and the audience wants and trying to cater to that and just make general improvements, and then having people recognize us, reach out to us, and then want to come out and be part of this. If somebody hits me up and says, hey, can I come out to your fights? And then they come out and they're like, tell their friends, they're like, hey, I had a really good time at these fights. It wasn't what I thought. There's actually a really good sense of community out there, and there's no egos. There's none of that stuff going on. People aren't trying to fight each other outside the cage. It's like people are there for each other. You come out here and fight. Some guy that fights here regularly, he'll jump over and get in your corner and help you out, and get you water. There's just so much camaraderie out here. It's crazy, and people don't get that so much on the camera. You kind of have to experience it. I try to put it in as much of the videos as I can, the sportsmanship and all that, but you really got to be out here to see what it's like.
Oh, for sure.
Build the community. That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Have you had any issues, though? Because you're like, it's that open door policy can go sideways sometimes.
So I think a lot of fighters in general look at this as like an oasis. They can come out and they could do their thing, and as long as they follow the rules and don't get too out of line, being disrespectful or anything, they can stick around. And I've had to kick people out before.
Yeah.
But to be perfectly honest, like most of the people find their way back. They realize like, hey, I fucked up. I apologized. I'm cool with that. I let them come back, and almost
Forgiveness.
every single time they're just like great part of what we do after that. Like they want to contribute, they want to help.
They just didn't
That's sick.
understand the community aspect.
Yeah,
of it.
yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like police your own type mindset where you're like, yeah, you don't want to be viewed as a piece of shit amongst all the other people that are there.
Right. Yeah.
Piece of poop. Sorry, we gotta keep it clean here.
So, how do you choose the fights?
All right. So we do our waivers, right? And when you sign up on the waiver, you put you read through it and everything. You go over and you get weighed in, you get your reach measured. You kind of self-evaluate your experience level. So you tell the person that's doing the weigh-ins, like, this is my experience. And you write it down, and they write it down on the waiver. And I got a guy that does the matchmaking, and he looks at the weights. And
Ooh,
he's
you
like,
got a guy.
I got a guy.
Shout out. What's his name?
Top Knocker, Mr. Top Knocker, my matchmaker. So
Top Knocker, the matchmaker.
yes, sir. So
Matchmaker, match me a
Yes.
match. catch me a catch.
I'd be lying if I said I hadn't thought of that before when we were talking about matchmaking.
Dude, you gotta just go full like Tinder with it, where you just get people like
Yep, we
do
were
an app.
swiping. We were swiping on the applications there, and so we look at two people and we're like, this guy put himself down as boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai. Those are the options that he'll do. And we look at this guy as like, these guys are within 10 pounds of each other. Their skill levels are about the same. And this guy said he'll do this, and this guy said he'll do this. So we match them up together.
So it's not necessarily like size. That's not the biggest
Size
factor.
isn't weight. Weight is the main factor.
Why is it just like
Because weight classes, man. Like any form of combat sports, weight classes are what determine who fights each other. Skill is also in there too. You know, I can't put a level 1 up against a level 3. It's not fair. So I try to match within 10 pounds of each other and equal skill level. Those are the two factors.
Yeah. So do you get repeated fighters? So like guys that are kind of, I mean, you got belts behind you. Like what are these? Like, is there like,
These are the different types of fighting we do.
Oh, okay.
So we got kickboxing, boxing, mixed martial arts, and the newest one is Muay Thai.
Ooh.
And they all have different rule sets.
does anybody have the belt though?
It's a little weird with the belts. So these all represent the type of fighting, but they represent also every single weight class. So fighters aren't allowed to take the belts home.
Okay.
It's just like you come out here if you're the belt holder, you can take pictures, you can walk in with your belt, you know.
Yeah. You know how to make those really soft? Secret tip.
Soft
Like,
belt?
Yeah, super soft belt. We did it with the WWE belt. So we got like when I was like 9, you put Barbasol on the back of it, let it sit for a little while, and then wipe it off.
Oh.
And it like
like
conditions it.
Oh,
Interesting.
Yeah. So if you want a comfortable
These are pretty
belt,
nice belts.
careful, that's real extinct dragon skin. Actually came off the last red dragon's foreskin.
yeah. So it depends on all these different categories. You like, so it's not necessarily like, hey, I want to go fuck that dude up.
No, I mean, that's the mentality that you got to have going into the cage.
For
but,
sure.
Yeah. Or
You
just
know.
so how many of them are real beefs?
I'd say like that's a misconception because people think the name Street Beefs and it was originally created to solve beefs, but really we don't get like a whole lot of beefs and really not too many like real serious beefs.
Yeah.
So
How are the
A little
fights
more
different when
comedic
that's the
beef.
case?
size isn't a factor. You know, you can say like these two want to fight each other. They can agree on whatever type of fighting they want it to be, but
So if me and him were like, hey, last night was bad. He talks
you
some
guys can
shit.
get in here.
I want to slap box the shit out of him.
Uh,
Well, slap boxing.
slap boxing isn't. Yeah, it's got to be Muay Thai. It's got to be kickboxing.
It's gotta be-
Pick one, you know.
Okay, one of those 4. Okay.
You guys want to box like almost bare knuckle because we can't do bare knuckle, but you can put on MMA gloves and just box each other. It's
Yeah.
kind of the same thing.
So why'd you open it to Muay Thai? Is that just the most common one next?
Yeah, kind of. So Muay Thai, they allow clinching. You can
Okay.
grab a person around the back of the neck, and then you can work like that. And it's-
I took some Muay Thai lessons.
Did you?
I was when I was in Thailand. It's pretty sick.
You were in Thailand?
Yeah, dude.
Oh,
I
my
didn't know this
Thailand?
was the Fitz brag podcast.
I've lived a
now.
hell of a life.
Yeah.
But back to the street beefs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
So, like, I want to talk about recently you had Brock and Morgan on.
you've had some comedian fights.
How do you match that weight class?
it's like kind of like a beef fight. You know, you just let them fight.
Yeah.
So we talk about like we negotiate like what do you guys want the rules to be? They were like, well, we're gonna
And
box.
for context, anybody watching, like Brock is, how tall is Brock?
4'4".
4'4". Yeah,
It's
you
on
know
his
the
waiver, I
stats.
know.
Yeah.
the stats.
What's his reach?
He's got the shortest reach of any fighter.
So he's a small person, and then Morgan's a
You could just
female
say he's got
comic.
the shortest reach. I think that's a great description.
Yeah. But like
And then Morgan's a female comic who's a
woman in
good
comedy
friends.
fits. Woman in comedy. Say it right.
Oh, sorry. I haven't been trained.
Yeah. So you've done a few of these comic fights.
Yeah,
With
you know,
like-
before the comic fighters were fighting each other, we had a couple people out here that do a little bit of stand up.
Yeah, well, you had the comedian.
the comedian Jay Money. We had Danger Russ. He's an older guy that does some stand up comedy out in Bremerton, the
Okay.
Speakeasy.
You had Shad Foster and Roger Lazola.
Yes. That was fun.
Which that was the best one you've had so far, you think, for comedian fights?
Actually, Shad's like getting into this boxing thing.
Yeah, he reached out to me about this.
Yeah,
he's trying to orchestrate more comedian fights.
He did an actual legit boxing match against just a regular boxer last time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't catch that one.
So
I gotta go back.
It's not up yet.
How'd he do?
Well, so I know I said it like that. You guys are thinking, oh man, he got his ass kicked.
We got like a month run up on this. So if I don't know when you're releasing,
it'll be out by then.
Yeah.
Right.
You can talk freely about it.
Okay. So I matched him up against similar weight guy, and Shad's kind of a taller guy for his weight, And I want to say that the guy we matched him up against was like 5'3".
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a short guy, but he's the same weight, so he's kind of stacked for 5'3", and he's had a few fights out in the scrapyard. He's I think he's got a winning record. He does pretty good. And Shad, I personally trained twice, right? Came out and worked with me. Came out here mainly getting ready for the Roger fight, and Shad used his reach and he won the fight. So I was like, that's awesome. I wanted to corner him, but I'm running the camera and everything. So
can't do everything.
That's fucking sick. Shout out to Shad Foster.
Good job, dude.
Have you had any like major injuries out here?
We've had people get knocked out, and we do have medics on site. We do have nurses on site.
Oh.
Last event we had, I believe, 3 nurses. We have a nurse station. She had a defibrillator. Full medical kits and everything. We just want to make sure the fighters are safe, check blood pressure and stuff before the fights. But people get knocked out, people get their shoulders separated, people break bones. That's about it.
Yeah.
There you go.
What's the worst thing you've seen?
Somebody get knocked out for more than 20 seconds.
Ooh, yeah, that's scary.
And what do you do?
Let the nurse handle it.
Yeah.
She knows what to do. They get up, they go into the nurse station. She advises them to have their person that brought them to take them to urgent care to get checked out for anything, just to make sure.
Yeah, that's fucking scary. God damn.
But it's kind of cool. You got the nurses on stage, because it's like, oh, well, they take care of that. I take care of the production. Everything's taken care of.
Yeah.
What would you? One of my questions leading up to this was like misconceptions you think people have about this, and what would you like people to know about street beefs that like if on the outside like looking in they might not totally understand.
Misconception. Well, for one, a lot of misconception with with gyms and stuff and onlookers is that this is not legal, which we've explained. So there's that. Also, people that aren't really familiar with combat sports, what this can do for a person's mental health.
Oh.
That's one thing that we're really trying to go after right now is that coming out here and having this as an outlet, being around other people that you can make friends with and form connections with and just be part of this community, that it really helps you out with your mental health. And I want people to realize that that's one direction that we're really trying to push this whole thing is to try to be open for people to come out and be part of it and be like, you know what? Sometimes you don't got somebody to talk to, but if you're part of a community and everyone's kind of in the same thing, you could talk to each other.
Definitely.
Yeah. And you're around like-minded people and stuff. Like that must, for you yourself, like being on top, like seeing that happen, that's got to be the biggest thing for you, right? Like just the community aspect.
The community aspect is the biggest thing. Yeah.
Do you like being like a patriarch of the community, being like the king of the castle?
You hold the belt.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a double-edged sword because anytime I make a rule or enforce anything or something happens in a match that somebody looks at and doesn't like, then guess who they come after? They say, well, you did this, and they don't understand like everything that goes into the matchmaking. And sometimes we do get fighters that just want to fight each other. Like I got a guy that'll come out and I'm like, hey, sorry, dude, we don't have a match for you. He's like, I want to fight that guy. Like that guy's a level 3 and do you know who that is? And they're like, yeah, I know who that is. And we put him in here and it doesn't go the way that they wanted it to go. It's like, that looks bad on us because they're like, why would you match these two fighters up against each other? Well, I mean, it's semi beef. Like they almost want to fight each other.
For sure. And are the best fights, like the most compelling fights, the ones that you guys do the most like legwork on to match them up and things, or is it kind of random?
It's random.
Is it?
Yeah, actually, a lot of viewers want to see knockouts.
Oh,
And like I said, I don't like to see knockouts.
yeah.
But it is part of fighting, and I think, but the core members of our community, the ones that are really there for watching, like us as a community, they want to see more competitive fights.
Yeah. So what does that look like? Like how long do they typically last? Are they?
You can look at a fight and see that these two fighters are just back and forth. They were evenly matched up. Like their skills just match up evenly. You know, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, there's the ones that I saw, the ones that were most entertaining were like the big swings at the end where like you see somebody kind of getting worked over, but they keep grinding it out, and then at the end, like they turn it because there were a few that were huge differences in size.
Yeah,
and like
heavyweights mainly.
Yeah, and like the big
Fun
guy
to watch.
Yeah, it's when the smaller guy rallies at the end and fucking gets him. And you're like, how the fuck did that even happen? It's crazy.
Yeah, playing your advantages.
Also, a lot of times, you know, people look at the video and they're like, those two are not, they don't weigh the same. And they're completely wrong. We've had guys come on here that we put them on the scale and they're like within 5 pounds of each other. And they're like, that guy's over 200 pounds. We're like, that guy's 160 pounds. It's like, you cannot gauge a person's weight.
Yeah, we had the same thing with our friend Zach Summerfield. Like when you look at him, you're like, he's no more than 200 pounds. Like, and the last weigh-in, it was like almost 3 or something. Like it was huge. he's just deceptively fat.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
it's
Wow.
You know,
it's pretty,
when you don't carry it all in the face, you know, you can hide it in some pockets.
like big
sometimes,
like hoodies and stuff. Like it's deceptive, but maybe we'll get him to come out sometime and see this stuff too. Shout out
Zach Summerfield.
I asked if you had any stories for this leading into it.
I got one.
It's story time. It's story time with Phantom. Yeah, it's story time. It's story time with Phantom and friends.
So like I said, we started this whole thing back in 2020 during the pandemic, and November 2020 was our most pandemic event. And this is back when we didn't have the cage. We actually had noodle ropes and 4 posts.
Yes.
So sidetrack a little bit. I built this whole thing out of stuff I had in my yard. An old Costco tent, you know, like I had some poles. I cemented them into the ground. I put covers over the cement. I used these bungee ropes. I put pool noodles over the top of them.
Nice.
So they were meant for a barrier. They're definitely not meant for to stop you. They're just meant to tell you, like, don't go any farther.
Yeah.
So everybody completely disregarded
is this dirt underneath?
Yeah, it's dirt.
Okay.
Everybody completely disregarded them and just like fought through them. And they were stretchy, like it'd be like 5-6 feet. These things are stretching out sometimes. And it's like, you guys got to get back in the ring. So back to the 2020 thing, the November event. We got people signing up and coming out, and I had a bare bones skeleton crew. Like we only had me in the ring filming and announcing, and then we just had like the fighters and the referee, and that was it. If you look at the fights, there's nobody. It's a ghost town, and they were all hiding across the bushes, kind of looking like So I had this fighter come out, and it was the first time he'd ever come out to the fights, and I had met him at a party, and through mutual friends, and this guy comes up to me and we're talking about fighting, and he says, yeah, I used to take Muay Thai, and I'm standing there drinking my hand, and he throws a head kick, and he misses my head by like this much. And I'm like, this guy's like 250 pounds. How did you just almost kick me in the head, dude? You're shorter than me. And we get to talking, and we're like, yeah, we're going to do fights coming up here. And he's like, he's interested in it, right? So he comes out, this pandemic event, and signs up. He comes out here. He got his blue Nike shorts on, his white T-shirt, and gets in the ring against this guy that has some like wrestling training and actual MMA experience, you know. And the guy's name was the Wolf that he was going up against.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that we had, the guy that I told you I met, his name was Solo, and he gets in the ring to do this fight. And are you familiar with drunken style? Drunken style is a term. It's a fighting style that
From
people
Matrix.
use where it appears that the person fighting is intoxicated.
Just wavering, like
It's crazy looking. It's like they're looking in different directions, and then all of a sudden they do this spin in that direction, and a fist comes from the other direction, or they'll turn around and like start walking away, and all of a sudden they turn and they're like, boom, fist in your face. It's crazy to watch, and it's so unorthodox. And this guy comes out and fight, and we don't let people fight drunk or anything like that.
Wait, Wolf is fighting this way or Solo?
Solo's fighting this way.
Okay.
Wolf is trying to like fight
Solo's
just
fighting
normal.
drunken style.
And he's like, he's looking at us and he's like, what the fuck, you guys? Like, how am I supposed to fight this guy? This guy's even like letting himself get hit in the face and getting fired up, and it's just totally throwing this Wolf guy off. Like, anyway, they get to fighting, and they get into the corner, and I'm in the corner, and they're smashing me. I'm at the camera like this, and they're just crushing me, and they're just fighting each other. I'm almost getting hit in the face. They back out of the corner. They're falling through the ropes. They're wrestling on the ground outside the cage, and then all of a sudden they go like full bore into the cage, or into the post. I keep saying cage. They go full bore into the post, and they just totally like destroy the post. They destroyed our ring. And at this point, I'm like getting frustrated because like I'm almost getting punched in the face. My ring is destroyed.
This is your house. You're just getting disrespected to your face, literally.
This guy's getting pissed off because he came out for like a legit fight, and he gets landed on. Like Solo lands on him like plop, and he's like, I'm done. I give up. So we raise Solo's hand. He wins the fight.
Does he come out of the stupor too? Like, does he get back to normal immediately?
He's just like, he looks at the other guy and he's like, "Hey brother, we should trade information on social media." And the other guy looks at him and goes, "No, we won't." He's like, "All right, that's cool." So
that's awesome. Did he ever fight again, Solo? Solo's Fighter of the Year 2022.
Yeah.
There
Solo
we go.
became one of our biggest draws.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And every time he fights
Fighter of the Year.
Every time he fights, it's just people want to see it. He wins fights sometimes, he loses fights, but he'll come out here and he's just really unsuspecting. He'll head kick somebody like crazy, just like all of a sudden the other dude gets kicked in the head and it's like rattles him. It's like,
that's sick.
he's so
is it better in
entertaining.
this ring now, or is it
Yes.
still? Does he still wreak havoc?
Oh, he still wreaks havoc. He just can't break my ring.
Yeah,
It's Solo proof now.
that's tight.
So yes, he became Fighter of the Year. Those are actually popularity.
Oh,
So they're voted on by YouTube and Facebook. So popularity, and I mean the guy was on. He went viral on World Star. His videos got millions of views.
that's
Insane.
awesome.
That's tight.
And it's cool that like through you, somebody like that can,
You know what this has done
accelerate.
for him personally? Like, think of it. A guy that just didn't have anything like this and comes out. Now he's this viral sensation that people recognize him out in public, and
That's sick.
there's like memes made and all sorts of stuff. It's crazy.
That's awesome,
Dude, he's Fighter of the Year.
Yeah, you get guys like big names like Brendan Schaub, and those guys are seeing some of our fighters. They see guys like Solo on there, and they do breakdowns. Demetrius Johnson, Mighty Mouse,
Yeah.
he does breakdowns of Solo's fights.
That's fun.
That's tight. Hell yeah, man.
Where are you going to
Just
get
sharing with-
exposure? Where are you ever going to get exposure like this as a fighter or anything?
Yeah, right.
You can't.
You just
Amateur, professional.
You can come right out of the mud and be right here, and then you send you to the top.
Yep.
That's sick, dude. So where do you go from here? Like, what's your?
Up.
Yeah.
Right.
Just more followers, more community, more people getting a hold of us wanting to collaborate. we want to spread our name out there. We want people to know who we are and what we stand for, and to feel comfortable with coming out here.
Yeah.
So it's just growth. That's it.
So if anybody watching this on YouTube, like if they want to fight, or they
just subscribe.
follow, subscribe, where's all your stuff at?
Facebook. That's where you're gonna go to sign up, and that's where our community is based. But we're on pretty much every social media platform you can think of. Just type in Streetbeefs Scrapyard, TikTok, Instagram. We got a good following on there. With
Nice. So I got a question for you. You got a wife.
Yeah, that's a good one.
What does she think about all of this? Like when you first started, you're like, I'm going to build a ring in my backyard.
Oh man, I'm glad you brought this up. So with the whole thing about going out to Virginia and fighting, I came back here and was like, you know what? What if we built a ring in the yard, even if it's just for practice?
Just for practice.
My coach taught me this. He got me
It's
into
like putting
doing
up a basketball hoop,
yeah.
right?
it. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, you know, like she knew I liked to box, and so I constructed 4 posts and the bungees and stuff out here. And I remember she went out of town for the weekend. She came back and she looks at it and she's like, "You built a ring in the yard? You built a ring in the yard there? In our front yard?" Like, surprise.
Well, that's just the beginning.
Yeah,
too.
now it's like this is like a tree fort that just went crazy out here.
So at first she was like,
like the people you have in your yard.
I know, right?
Like most wives would be like, "Whoa, like I need a vacation for this weekend."
"Oh yeah."
How does she handle it?
She is 100% invested in this now.
Yeah.
Nice.
You will hear her in every video.
Yes.
Her name's on the staff wall here. She's in every video, yelling and screaming, and
What's her
Mandy Bear.
Mandy Bear.
Yeah, Mandy Bear. Shout out Mandy Bear.
Shout out Mandy Bear.
She's in every video. She eats it up. She loves it, and she's brings that energy to the cage. So she's in on it. You know, she shares a lot of our stuff on social media, makes clips and does all that stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome to have that support. You think she's ever going to get in the ring?
Any more questions?
I think that's
Yeah, I think this
I hate
this
to
was
not
really
have more
fun,
questions,
man.
But I always got more questions. But
Yeah.
I feel like you've
What
answered a
about
lot.
Fitz for you? Just because this is the first time he's on the podcast, where can people find you?
James Fitz Comedy on Instagram.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. We're gonna have Fitz back on in a
Follow
couple
House
weeks.
Fitz, the YouTube channel. It doesn't have very much on it yet, but
Yeah,
we
it's
got a lot
growing.
of stuff in the works.
Dude, Steve, thank you.
I had
For the
another
time.
idea too that I'm trying
Ooh.
to pitch out to people, but I haven't had a lot of. It just takes the right person to say I want to do that, and I want to do what's called scrap battles. So you guys seen with the comedy, right? You guys get in here, you say a couple lines back and forth. I want to do it, but with rap battles.
Hip hop.
Yes.
Oh,
I know this guy
interesting.
Titus locally that
Yeah.
he would
Okay.
definitely be
I know.
down.
Elijah Griffey. Shout out.
Yeah.
So get a couple guys in here, just they
Spit
spit some
bars.
bars back and forth, and then they do a couple rounds with boxing gloves on, and
The mom spaghetti circuit.
exactly scrap battles. And it's kind of crazy because I came up with this idea a while back, and the guy that we wanted to kind of host it, and I don't want to be the guy in the middle. Like I want to get somebody else to do it.
You don't have
but
bars to spit.
I don't got bars to spit now. But
Yeah, that'd be too much.
Fire
if you had
Chicken's
that
got to
skill,
have a
too.
couple lines.
I talk with my fists. But it was actually Jay Gotham, the guy that I was wanting to do the back and forth and orchestrating the whole thing. And he was actually a very talented rapper. He did our song that's the intro to a lot of our videos. And he freestyled. He came out here on Halloween and did song after song, and in the cage. But he recently passed away, so we won't be able to, fulfill that. But
In his memory.
in his memory,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's out there. Like if we get anybody that just wants to get this whole thing started, and anybody that knows rap battles that can help me out with that part.
Throw in a comment or whatever.
Yeah.
Reach out to Steve. Like that'd be sick though.
I like that idea. That's fun.
Yeah.
Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for the time and for having us. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe, notifications bell, and then if you got a question for any of us here, throw it in the comments. We'll do our best to get it answered.
Yeah, call me or send me a text. My number is 425-577-4260.
Who is that? Who is that?
It's me.
Okay.
For real?
Yeah, that's my phone number.
I thought you were just throwing out somebody else's number.
Give me a text. That would be
Like,
good.
I've seen that number wrote on a bathroom wall before.
Exactly.
And then if you're listening to us, not watch us on YouTube, hit that like button, rate and review us wherever you're listening. And we are on Patreon if you want to support, patreon.com/FNFpod. Thank you guys both for coming on. This was a lot of fun. Thank you for watching. If you're listening to us, we're leaving you with Jaga.
I just make the waves, I don't write them. I can hear the lyrics in my spirit as I write them. Why you wanna walk and talk just like them? I can't get caught up in all the hype and the excitement. I just make the waves, I don't write them. I can hear the lyrics in my spirit as I write them. Why you wanna walk and talk just like them? I can't get caught up in all the hype and the excitement. My wave pool, my wave pool. Welcome to 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 my wave pool.